In this video, we're going to break down a real consulting slide from Bain Company. I'll talk about how they structure, design, and format the slide in a way that makes the insights clear. We'll also talk about the tricks they use that you might not notice right away, but that make the slides so incredibly persuasive. And make sure you stick around to the end because we got a whole lot of great stuff to cover. Hi everyone, Paul here from the Analyst Academy, where we've taught thousands of people all around the world how to build consulting style presentations, much like the one we'll be reviewing today. If you're serious about your slide building skills and want to learn how to build clear, engaging, and persuasive presentations like what you might see at a top tier consulting firm like McKinsey, Bain, or BCG, then check out one of our full courses at theanalystacademy.com. We've also got some great free stuff there, including our top 50 PowerPoint shortcuts cheat sheet, so be sure to check that out as well. The slide we're covering today is from a presentation called 2011 China Luxury Market Study, which you can download for free on Bain's website, and we'll include a direct link to the presentation below. All right, here we go. The first and most important thing to notice about this slide is the title, which is the most important part of any data-heavy slide like this one. So let's read it. Greater than 60% of growth in 2011 continued to come from new customers. However, share from existing customers improved. And there's two things they've done here that are really critical. Number one, they've written the title out in a full sentence. Instead of using the title to introduce just the topic of the slide, they've spelled out the insight clearly and with detail. In other words, rather than just writing something like customer growth, they've told you exactly what they want you to know and what they want you to take away from the slide. Then the second critical thing they've done is to make sure the title is a full summary of the slide. And this follows the idea of the pyramid principle, which states that when you communicate something, you want to start with the highest level idea first, then break that idea into its component parts. The title is the conclusion or the main point of the slide, then the rest of the slide makes up the supporting details and data of the main point. By communicating this way, you want to make it as easy as possible for the audience to understand your main idea. Not only can they understand your main message within the first few seconds of viewing the slide, but once they read the title, they'll know how to read and interpret the rest of the information on the slide. For example, once they look at this chart, which is the main centerpiece of the slide, they'll already know to look for this data point that they saw in the title about more than 60% of growth in 2011 coming from new customers. But if they didn't read the title first, they might be trying to figure out what the chart is saying or what they're supposed to even get out of it. We actually did a full video all about the pyramid principle and why it really matters when it comes to presentation building, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Now let's talk about the chart, which is obviously a main focus of this slide. Unless you're disciplined and you read the title, it's probably where your eyes will go first. So for Bain, it's really important to get the details right and to help the audience see the insights. It's just a basic waterfall chart that shows the total amount of spending in the China luxury market in 2009, 2010, and 2011. But it puts an emphasis on what's causing the change from year to year. From 2009 to 2010, for example, 33% of new growth came from existing customers, and 67% came from new customers. Then from 2010 to 2011, 37% came from existing customers, and 63% came from new customers. And this is great because this is exactly what they're trying to show. Notice the connection with the message in the title. And this is very important. The main takeaway is not about the total market size or even about the size of the growth from year to year. It's about where the growth is coming from. By using a waterfall chart, they can isolate these two categories, growth from existing customers and growth from new customers. The type of chart you choose really does have an impact on your message and the overall clarity of your slide. Think about what this might have looked like with a different type of chart, like say a stacked column chart. Can you still see the insight? Of course, especially with this bright red color. But when you turn it into a column chart, the focus becomes the height of each of these columns. Or in other words, the focus is on the total market size and how it's growing overall. But remember, that's not the message. The message is on where the growth is coming from, which gets emphasized when they use a waterfall chart. By the way, if you're getting any value out of this video so far, please give it a like. It helps us know what videos you like and what you want us to make more of. And if you have any questions or recommendations for new videos, please let me know down in the comments. Another thing that's great about this chart is the use of color. They've used a bright red color on the most important columns and then a less important but still noticeable dark gray on the other important columns. And for the columns that aren't really a focus, they've used the most boring and non-obvious color of gray, so it almost blends into the background. And this brings up another really important principle, which is that you don't want your audience to go searching for the important information on your slide. You want to guide them as much as possible, and one way to do that, obviously, is with color. Red is the most attention-grabbing color here, but notice what they've made red on the slide. These columns, which are a very important part of the message, this bar on top, which brings attention to the title, the most important part of the slide, and then the only other thing that's red on the slide is their logo down here at the bottom, and even that is really tiny. And then that's it. In fact, not only is that the only red on the slide, it's really the only color on the slide besides this black and this gray. Because they know they only have so much of your mental attention, so they really want to guide you to what matters the most. As you're building your slide, it's easy to forget that you've already looked at the data many times and that you know what the key insights are. But your audience is likely looking at your slide for the first time. Add on top of this that in a live presentation, they'll be simultaneously trying to listen to the speaker, read the words and numbers on the slide, and think of something to say to add to the discussion. Even for a smart person, it's a lot to process all at once, so you want to do whatever you can to make finding the insights quick and easy. Even stuff that seems small, like using standout colors where they matter the most, is really going to make a difference. All right, now let's read through some of the text on the slide. Over here on the right, you have a section called Key Insights. I like that they've kept this simple here and made it obvious for me. They're taking the data in the chart one step further and helping me understand why it's growing the way it is. Because new stores are opening and because we're also seeing performance improvements at the store level. They've kept the text short and to the point, which again is going to help me and my overloaded brain understand the key points. Then they've got some nice quotes down here, which can be powerful on a slide like this because it brings a personal element to the data. And it provides a different way of understanding insights that isn't numbers or consultant-created bullet points. My criticism with this section, though, is the overuse of bolded text. Bolded text is great because just like the use of colors, it can help direct the audience's attention. But when you use it too much, it sort of loses its value. They've highlighted portions of the bullet points, which is great, but then they've bolded both quotes completely. A much better use of bolded text would have been to highlight a couple of important words in the quotes. With them being fully bolded, I'm just tempted to skip over the quotes completely as I'm scanning the slide because it feels like too much work to read them. To give the quotes attention, what they could have done is just put a simple box behind them, even just a light gray box. That way I know that they're different from these bullet points, but they don't command so much attention that they're distracting. Overall, though, I think it's a pretty great slide and it's very effective. All right, that's going to do it for this breakdown. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any specific questions, be sure to let me know down in the comments. And if you're interested in more stuff like this, make sure you stay connected with us here on YouTube and on our other social media channels, which I'll link to below. And if you're really serious about learning how to build your own high-quality consulting style slides, check out one of our courses at theanalystacademy.com. All right, thanks again for watching and best of luck.